Hey everybody, Logan here. How about that? 8BitDo announces yet another controller, but this is one that a lot of people have been asking for. And well, if you guys have been following the channel for any amount of time, you know that I'm a big fan of the 8BitDo controllers. I actually have one right over here, and this is, again, if you've watched my go-to controllers video, you know that this is my go-to PC controller whenever I do have to test anything or pull up any kind of gameplay or whatnot on PC. 8BitDo Ultimate 2. So I've recently covered the Ultimate 3 mode for the Xbox, and it feels a little archaic comparing it to the Ultimate 2 for the PC and the Switch. But it looks like 8BitDo has come out with a new controller. And hopefully this leads way to a new version for the Xbox. But right now, it looks like it's another PC slash Switch 2 controller. What is that, you say? Well, you clicked on the video, you know, and that's the Pro 3. Yes. So we originally had the 8-bit do SN30 Pro, SN30 Pro Plus, SN30 Pro 2, and now we have the SN30. No, I don't even think it's no, they just dropped the SN30 altogether, and now it's just called the Pro 3. Here, let me show you. All these acronym and letter naming conventions can kind of go, but let me just show you the controller. It looks kind of awesome. So here we go. 8BitDo Pro 3 Bluetooth Gamepad. There you go. That's the name. Just Pro 3. I saw it early, well, as of recording, early this morning, but I already had a video scheduled. So this is when you're getting this one. But this is a pretty big announcement for people who really liked the Pro 2. And I'm one of them. I've actually been using the SN30 Pro Plus. I never got the 2 because it wasn't a big enough upgrade for me to pick the 2 over the Plus, the fact that I already had it. But when they added the Hall effect sticks, that was great. Now we've got a bit more. Let me show you. Let's take a closer look. Right now it's available for pre-order on Amazon. And if I'm not mistaken, it comes out August 21st. So my biggest thing is they went with a GameCube slash Super Nintendo. We always know it's that Super Nintendo style here. That's what they originally went with. This one mixes Super Nintendo and PlayStation because you got the PlayStation color buttons, I guess, for the B, A, X, and Y. So it mixes the best of Super Nintendo and the best of PlayStation 1. Here, we're straight up Game Boy. That is the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Color way, not the Game Boy Color. It's the Game Boy, original OG Game Boy colorway. And then we have the GameCube. Personally, my original one is the one that looks like the Super Nintendo, not the PlayStation, the one that has the light purple buttons. And I'm going to get this one because I am a big Nintendo head. But if you like the PlayStation style, this is definitely your option. And if you love the retro Game Boy aesthetic, and I kind of do, that's the one to go with. But I'm definitely going with the GameCube Indigo look. Now, one thing they did with this controller kind of made me scratch my head, but it's kind of cool. Let's continue and I'll show you. So it says a classic reimagined with extreme compatibility, compatible with Switch 1 and 2, Windows PC, Apple, Steam OS, and Android devices. So pretty much everything. Now, Switch 1 and 2. When it says Switch 1 and 2, that's already going to tell you it's a Switch 1 controller that's compatible with the Switch 2. It means it will not wake up the console. It is not a Switch 2 controller because the Switch 2 controller will not work on a Switch 1 because of the Bluetooth protocol. So keep that in mind. That's kind of pooey, but hey, whatever you want to use it with right there. No Xbox and no PlayStation, people. You see this? No Xbox, no PlayStation. People ask me that all the time, even though I cover this section hands down on every product. There you go. So there are all the different form. I don't want to say form factors because it's all just one, but it's different colorways. So, which I think is really nice. Now, this is an amazing feature. And these companies are starting to listen to me. Once I saw it in, it was the Beitong, one of the Beitong controllers, and then saw it in the Nixie, and then GameSir, and I kept saying this is what needs to be done for these controllers that are PC and Switch compatible. Make these buttons swappable, and they are. So you've got a little magnetic swappability here going with your ABXY, so you can switch them to Xbox layout or Switch layout. Of course, I will keep it in Switch layout because that's what I'll use it for, but that is a beautiful feature, and I think it's well deserved. Now they give you the charge dock. So, yes, if you're already thinking it will be more expensive, anytime they give you the charge dock, it does cost a bit more. But I like the fact that the wireless controllers that 8BitDo is putting out, for the most part, almost all of them are now coming with charge docks. I don't mind paying the little extra to get the dock. There are some people that say, hey, let me save some money and just charge it via cable. Hey, I completely understand there, but I do like a good charge dock. This is the big boy. This is the big boy. The magnetic face buttons are great, but everybody wants TMR sticks. So it says equipped with TMR joysticks, featuring market leading TMR joysticks for higher sensitivity, greater precision, and enhanced durability, all while consuming less power, equipped with a 12-bit ADC sampling chip. Yes. So no drift. If that's what you're wondering, TMR is like the top of the line. Again, if you guys have watched my channel before, you know I've covered quite a few controllers with TMR sticks, this being one of them. So let's continue. Hall effect triggers and mode switching, that is fantastic. So you got your trigger locks for PC because remember, Switch, it's digital. So yeah, you want to keep the trigger locks on. That's going to be your best bet. Now, one thing I did see, and I was really impressed, they added claw buttons. So these may not necessarily be your typical claw buttons because a regular one wraps all the way around and it kind of nudges itself in here on most controllers, but it's technically a third and fourth mappable buttons because you got the one set of flappy paddles on the back, and then you have these, they're calling them R3 and R4 because the sticks, sorry, yeah, they're calling them R3 and R4. Wait, that doesn't make any sense because this is R1, R2, R1, R2, L2, R2, R3, R4. So it's R4 and L4. There we go. I was going to say, because my mind broke a little bit there. And it's the same thing if you look, well, you can't see because the image is too small. The little claw buttons are the same. Let's continue. It's got a beautiful D-pad, like always, refined tactile feedback, recalibrated bumpers, and D-pad for a clicky yet smooth feel, light yet tactile. This is a very interesting added feature. Ball top joystick cap, made purely for fun, includes two swappable ball joystick caps. So I guess they're expecting people to do this, or just on the I don't know, but hey, it's a cool little extra feature. I think it's nifty, and they're just kind of throwing it in there. And sure, why not? A nod to classic NGC colors, Nintendo GameCube. But yes, as you can see, it is compatible with Switch 2, but again, it's going to be Switch 1 controller. Uninterrupted 2.4 gigahertz connection with USB-C adapter. So goes in the little dock base like it does in all of them. Again, have it right in there. 8BitDo Ultimate Software V2, so you can update it and program everything that you want to do with it for PC and Switch, of course. And yes, it is compatible with your Steam Deck for those of you who do have it. People act like, everybody's got one. I only know one person who owns one. Only one. Everybody else owns a Switch. I'm the only oddball that owns a ROG Ally. So I do have one of those. But hey, if you have a ROG Ally and you're a gamer on a ROG Ally as well, drop it in the comment section below. Let me know that you have one of those. Officially supported by Apple. There you go. And then Pro 3 Bluetooth gamepad, Pro 2 Bluetooth gamepad. So here are the big differences. So you've got the purple, a G Classic and gray, black G Classic and gray, switch 1 2 Windows Steam OS Android Apple, switch 1 2 Windows Steam OS Android Apple Raspberry Pi. So as you can see, they don't have native Raspberry Pi compatibility. Do not know why, but it's a thing. 2.4 gigahertz Windows switch, Bluetooth switch, SteamOS, Apple, Android, wired Windows switch, Android, Apple, SteamOS, Bluetooth, and wired. So pretty much same thing. Triggers 2 trigger modes with mode switch linear Hall effect. Triggers non-linear micro switch triggers, linear triggers. No trigger locks on that one, if I'm not mistaken, because like I said, I just have the Pro Plus. Bumpers silicone micro switch for the L4R4 that doesn't have any TMR Hall effect. Well, dependent on which one you have, because if I'm not mistaken, there was a Pro 2 without Hall effect very early on. So you got DS and X inputs, same thing right over here, but here you got a little bit higher when it comes to polling rate, 60 to 100 hertz, 100 to 200 hertz, 60 to 200 hertz. So it's not 1,000 hertz. The highest you're going to get at X input wired is 250 hertz. So keep that in mind. So you've got Pro back paddle buttons and charging dock. Yes, 6-axis motion. So if you're wondering, yes, it's got gyro, vibration, turbo, RGB firings. No, so no lights. Ultimate Software V2. This one supports Ultimate Software, and the battery is at 1,000 mAh. So that's probably around 30 hours. 30 hours of gameplay. Tech specs, which is pretty much the same thing I just read. Connectivity, same thing I just read. It's all here right there. Awesome. So tell me which one you guys are going to get. Do you plan on getting this? Because I definitely do. Like I said, it is available right now for pre-order on Amazon if you're living in the States. Otherwise, it says order on eShop worldwide. But those of you who follow me, the majority of my audience is in the United States. But if you're not, know that you can still get it on their eShop. So tell me what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this video. Hopefully you found this helpful because, well, I wanted to bring this all to you because I think this is going to be another big one. I am hoping before it officially comes out that they announce that it will be Switch 2 compatible in terms of displaying as a Switch 2 controller with the newer Bluetooth. I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know what. I would love to see another one actually be able to wake up the console, because as of right now, there have been no wireless alternatives that can wake the console as of yet. So there are a couple I've seen that, again, haven't hit the market yet. So there we go. Once they hit the market, that'll be a game changer. But as of right now, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this video. God bless each and every one of you. Like we always say, be legendary. Thanks again.